Buddy, do you want to help me? You're thinking about it? Maybe? Uh-oh. You're changing your mind, eh? Oh well. Thanks anyway. A little different look on the opening today. We had an opening with Buddy, so I'm going to spare the dogs the torture of me holding them right now. Gail and I visited Bolsa Chica on October 8th, and we were down in Orange County for something else, and we spent the morning of the 8th at Bolsa Chica walking around in the thick marine layer. We could have timed it a little better, I'll just put it that way. It was at high tide, which is not the best for shorebirds, and I think I'll do another chapter in a couple of months, maybe in December, January. It'll be a little more productive then, even though I think I counted 30 birds in this video. I know I counted about 35 on the day, so there's a few that didn't quite make the cut. But I'm going to call this Bolsa Chica Part 1. You can look forward to a Bolsa Chica Part 2 later on after I get down there in the winter. So enjoy. Here is a view of Bolsa Chica Ecological Reserve looking to the northwest. The Pacific Coast Highway is running north to the left. There's more marsh in front and to the right of us. They have a nice wooden walkway bridge. It's located between Seal Beach and Huntington Beach. I always say it's the birdiest place I visit regularly. These Forster's terns are feeding on some small fish they found near the walkway bridge. These terns are common year-round at Bolsa Chica, both breeding and wintering here. You can recognize them this time of year by the black mark near their eye and the lack of a black cap. This great egret was also feeding on small fish. It is one of 3 native egret species seen year-round at Bolsa Chica. White pelicans are also found year-round at Bolsa Chica, though never in as large numbers as their cousins, the brown pelicans. Willets can be hard to see in the marsh unless they flash their bold black and white wings. They are plentiful though, so we can usually kick up a few. Black-bellied plovers are by far the most common large plover here in California. Most of the year they are not in their black-bellied plumage, however. They are easier to pick out when they're on the rocks or sand near the shoreline. These sleeping ruddy ducks have lost their ruddy color for the winter. Pied-billed grebes were the only grebes in the marsh that day. I expect a few others as winter gets closer. Several subspecies of savanna sparrow live in the marsh. I believe this is a Belding's based on its dark color and the amount of streaking. Long-billed curlews are seen here year-round as well, but they are definitely more numerous and easier to see in the winter. Here are two brown pelicans with the white heads with some youngsters. Looks like three white pelicans, some double-crested cormorants, an egret of some sort off to the right, and possibly some Caspian terns. We only saw one scaup this day, here with two ruddy ducks. Notice the white cheek on the male ruddy duck. At first, I thought this was a lesser scaup based on the head shape and general coloration. After looking at the build, though, I'm inclined to call it a greater scaup. I guess I'm not really sure. This snowy egret is either drinking the brackish water or has an unusual fishing technique. I'm not really sure. I have seen them do this before, even in the ocean. This snowy egret was content just to hang out. Great blue heron, seemingly on the hunt. They always seem to be on the hunt. It's unusual to see a California-type sandpiper in this tall, marshy brush, so it took me a moment or two to figure this one out. It turned out to be the best bird of the day. It's a pectoral sandpiper, an uncommon visitor to California. I've seen them this time of year before, but it's been a while, so I was very happy to see this one. Notice its relatively well-defined chest markings and the yellowish-green legs. The tallest brown bird in the middle is a marbled godwit, the one with the long, straight bill. They're one of my favorite shorebirds here in California. There's also some willets flanking the two godwits, and I think there's a black-bellied plover on this little spit of marsh somewhere. This clip is from fairly far away, and the marine layer fog is starting to get a little thicker, but you can see the tall reddish egret hunting for his breakfast. There was a long-billed curlew and a marbled godwit walking the marsh in front of him. Reddish egrets are very active hunters, so I thought you might enjoy seeing this one procure his meal for the day. Watch closely. It looks like he's successful. Just past the large shorebirds hunting in the shallows, there was a little bit of a mud flat, and you could see large flocks of small shorebirds, such as western least sandpipers, coming in to feed. I'm not good at identifying the small ones when they're in a flock like this, but I do have a pick that helps a little bit. This photo was taken from a distance, zoomed and cropped, but I believe the small birds here are semi-palmated plovers. We'd been seeing several flocks of small birds, dark above, white below, and that's what I believe these are. We had been hearing killdeer, so I knew there were some nearby. Finally, we came across them. Killdeer are year-round residents on our coastlines in California. This is a least sandpiper, one of our most common peeps here in California. Some of those small flocks we'd been seeing and that large flock I showed you were undoubtedly these birds as well. This black-crowned night heron looks a little sleepy to me. Perhaps he'd been up all night feeding. Looks like the wet fog is weighing him down too. My wife Gail spotted ospreys at the top of trees off in the distance. I'm thinking the fog put a crimp into their hunting. Here are some year-round California coast residents. Ring-billed gull, the darker western gull that's larger, and of course the double-crested cormorants. We had been hearing this kingfisher for much of the morning. I don't know, looks like it's loitering to me. This mallard looks like he's going to take it easy this morning. Now I see, it's Mrs. Mallard's turn to get breakfast. Here was a pleasant surprise, red-necked phalaropes in winter plumage without the red color, but pretty nonetheless. We seldom get their colorful breeding plumage down here, but even in black and white, they're a lot of fun to watch. We get both red and red-necked here in the winter, but the streaky backs and the long needle-like bills identify these as red-necked. Here is a nice flock of winter ducks. These are shovelers and a few widgeons, both of which spend the winter in California. These are American widgeons. If I'm lucky, I'll pick up a Eurasian widgeon, which occasionally winter here also. Here are two male shovelers accompanied by a coot. The shovelers look like they haven't yet finished molting. They'll be a lot prettier once they get all their new feathers in. This was the only black-necked stilt I saw all day. They've got to be around here somewhere, either elsewhere in the marsh or perhaps one of the other marshes in the area. Last but not least, here is a marbled godwit. Better view than the ones I showed you earlier. I enjoy watching their sewing machine style of feeding. That's all from Bolsa Chica for now. I hope you enjoyed seeing how special this reserve is. If you're in Southern California, I urge you to stop by. Please click the like button and also subscribe, especially if you want to see when I post part 2 later this year or early next year. Thanks again.